Today we begin our key change series by looking at some of the most commonplace and established methods of changing key. The following moves can be used to execute temporary key changes or full-scale changes of tonal centre. One way of smoothing out the transition from one key to another is by using a pivot chord. This is a chord that belongs to both the key you're transitioning from and the key you're transitioning to. One very established method of key change is using a pivot chord immediately followed by 5/7 in the new key to complete the modulation. For extra smoothness, make sure the chord progression makes sense either side of the pivot chord in terms of harmonic progression. The pull from the dominant 7th chord to its own 1 chord is so convincing that we can even change key without a pivot chord and skip straight to a 5/7-1 progression in the new key. We can take this concept through the circle of fifths, turning each 1 chord into a new 5/7. Many a Bach progression suspends us in this no man's land extensively before actually arriving at any key centre at all. Here, he gives us a chain of dominant 7ths before briefly tonicizing subdominant harmony, leading us fleetingly back to tonic harmony. If he wanted to, Bach could have continued the chain, ending up at some pretty distantly related keys. There'll be more efficient ways of achieving this, detailed in the next part of the series. One very widely used key change is transitioning to the parallel major or minor. Because our tonic note is the same in the key we're transitioning from to the key we're transitioning to, we're not asking a lot of the listener in terms of reorientation, as the central point of our modal shift remains the same. This key change is more startling than moving to the relative major or minor, as here we're not simply sharing the same notes and chords as the key we're coming from. More new notes, more drama. Helpfully, one chord they do share is 5/7. So accomplishing this key change can be as simple as heading to 5/7 and then moving straight to the parallel major or minor tonic chord. Sometimes we can change key without any pivot or 5/7. This is hard to pull off unless we rely on our melody. By repeating a familiar melody in a different key, we're able to make this transition smooth. Our ear is so used to the melody, its contour, its interval pattern, that hearing it again in a different key is easy to lock in with. Fugal writing works on this very principle, relying on direct modulations every time the subject re-enters in the tonic or dominant key. Winding the clocks forward drastically, the famous power ballad truck driver key changes can also be described as direct, often lifting the final chorus by tone or semitone. But one on our list moves us to the chromatic mediant key, a type of key change we will look into more thoroughly in the next part of the series as we examine modulations to distantly related keys. Do join me for part 2.